Welcome to the Beasts of the NFC East podcast. I am your host, Sean Gnitzcavich, with my co-host, Jeremy Goode. Jeremy Goode, I'd ask you what's good, but I'll tell you what is not good, and that is the New York Football Giants and my hopes and my dreams, and everything is shattered. And although I have a brave face today, yesterday I was in shambles. I have been through all the stages of grief, and yeah, it sucks. Everything sucks. But we have a great episode. You get to see me be brought to almost tears, recapping every week one game, which includes the Cowboys' 40-0 win over the New York Football Giants. The Commanders' 20-16 win over the Cardinals, which did not cover the spread and lost me quite a bit of money, and the Eagles' 26-20 win, right?
25-20.
25-20 win over the Patriots.
Yeah.
I think we should just get this out of the way. I think we should just start all off season. You get so excited. I couldn't even sleep the night before. I watched Remember the Titans. I was crying like 3 times of just like getting so amped up for the Giants. I was just so hyped. I'm not gonna lie, there was a moment of doubt. I have Daniel Jones on my fantasy team, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I play Derek Carr against the Titans. And I said no. I'm riding through with Daniel Jones. I know that that Dallas front might be good, but the Giants O-line must have gotten better, right? Wrong. They looked atrocious. It was, I said I watched Remember Titans to make me feel better. Coral had us watch Gridiron Gang after I was in shambles. And in Gridiron Gang, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson teaches all these juvenile kids how to play football, starts a team. They are awful. They were so bad in that movie, and they weren't as bad as the New York Giants were on Sunday. And these are kids, fictional juvenile students, and they lost 31-0. And they still look better than New York Football Giants did, which should be a better team. And I still think is a better team. It's not everything looks great, but I think that we got to break this down. Things looked okay first drive. Jeremy, you were watching as well. I was amped up. We were marching down the field.
It's a nice drive.
I have this nice Saquon. Every time Saquon gets a first down, I have everybody in the house kiss it, and everybody's just kissing Saquon Barkley, which sounds weirder than it is. And you know what? After you lose, you feel like a real loser that you did that, especially with how things changed so quickly. And then rookie center John Michael Schmitz. I must make this known. It was pouring out. It was not like the rain was supposed to stop before the game. It was pouring out. We had that new turf, which honestly I feel like affected a few things with how it was raining very, very, very badly. But still, John Michael Schmitz just shanks the snap when we're, in the red zone. That leads to the fourth. But hey, we're still like, 20 yards away. We should get Graham Gano is like, he just got the extension before the game, $16 million, 3 years. I love Graham Gano, one of the baddest kickers in the league, and bam, block punt, Noah the Cowboys returned the kick for a touchdown. Noah Igbenenemy. Okay, dude, I feel like the fish in Nemo.
Right. Yes.
I can't pronounce it.
Sounds about right.
Noah Igbenenemy, who also had an amazing day against the Giants. After that, things just kind of went downhill. I was actually kind of excited. I was like, you know what? Whatever. Now we get to see the Giants offense again. Just keep marching. That was not the case. Things just went from bad to worse. Our O-line, and even in that good drive, every time we dropped back to pass, we didn't have anything. The O-line was awful. I have some stats here. I knew that the right side was awful, but let's see here. Andrew Thomas, this is from Jordan Renan, ESPN journalist who covers the Giants. Pass block win rates for Giants versus Cowboys. Andrew Thomas was 88%, which is 32nd. That's, there's 2 tackles, so there's 64 tackles, so he was like right there in the mid, which is not amazing for him. But still not as bad as Evan Neal, who graded 59th out of 60 qualifying tackles in week 1. So he was essentially the worst. He had a 70.6% pass block win rate. Ben Bredesen, who I've been talking up pretty highly, actually played pretty well. He did 32nd, so he's right there. He had 90% pass block. That's our left guard. So he held it up. The left side was not our problem. Mark Lewinsky, on the other hand, was our problem. He finished 56th as well, 75.8%. It was miserable. The right side of the line, there was nothing. Daniel Jones couldn't do the RPOs, the cutesy RPOs where he gets a run out. I think he actually only averaged 3.3 yards per carry because like there was just nothing for him. And these scrambles weren't like pulling him by surprise. These scrambles were him trying to escape a sack and nothing happening. The Cowboys, on the other hand, looked pretty good. I mean, the numbers didn't look great because honestly, everything was defensive. Like not everything, but quite a few. There was 7 sacks there, 7 sacks on Daniel Jones, and quite a few fumbles.
Three of those sacks, 3 or 4 of those sacks was when the game was well out of the way. They started piling it on.
Yeah, and we took out Andrew Thomas. He like tweaked something. He's healthy, but like a little bit questionable. I think he was just like the first one to go because we need Andrew Thomas, especially seeing how terrible the rest of our O-line is. But just to put some more numbers here, Daniel Jones was pressured. This is from Bobby Skinner of Talking Giants. Daniel Jones was pressured on 66.7% of his dropbacks, which was the most in the NFL by 13.6%. Yeah, it was awful. Mark Lewinsky, like I said, was awful. Gave up 3 sacks. This is also from Bobby Skinner. 1 quarterback hit and 5 pressures. That is almost a quarter of all the sacks and hits and pressures that the Giants gave up were all from Mark Lewinsky. So I didn't really like him. He was Joe Shane's like first big signing when he came here 2 years ago. That was like the only big signing, which wasn't even that huge. He was like a mid offensive guard. And maybe it's time to put Josh Azudu in, our 3rd round pick from last year, because I don't think he could be any worse, to be honest. Cowboys, like I said, they look good. The Cowboys defense, like, this is something that we have to see. This is week 1, which is why it's even more terrible. Like, how bad are the Giants? How good are the Cowboys? And how much was it just this rainy misery that just screwed everything up? Because, like you were saying with me before the show, I mean, a lot of those fumbles, I feel like were just from the slippery ball. Even that Stephon Gilmore interception, I felt like that had to do with the rain. And that didn't really seem like Daniel Jones was going there. I feel like he didn't have a good grip on the ball. If you saw that interception to Stephon Gilmore, it was sad. Jeremy, do you want to weigh in here so that I just don't keep reliving this misery?
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough game for the Giants. Not much to take away. I thought they had a few good drives in the beginning. Even down 40, I thought they put together something nice in the 4th that didn't result in anything because they fumbled. I don't know how if you want to mention this.
Yeah.
Giants are down 40-0. 8 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
They trot out Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's intelligent.
Especially with the hits that he was taking, and they took Andrew Thomas out at that time. So,
right.
And Brian Dable did speak on it. I don't care what your defense is. I think if you paid this guy, and I do believe in Daniel Jones. I know I said I think Daniel Jones is going to be a Pro Bowl quarterback. He can't prove to be a Pro Bowl quarterback. He wasn't able to get the ball down the field to any of those receivers. Like Darren Waller had 4 catches for 35 yards. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was our best receiver, most targeted. Isaiah Hodgins, dude, this is what gave me like a little, I was looking for something. Like there wasn't anything that made me excited. Like nothing was like, oh yeah, that's like, at least we got that. Like we had 0 sacks.
Right.
Dexter Lawrence had 2 quarterback hits and a couple pressures. You want to know who else had a quarterback hit? No other Giant. No other Giant even had a quarterback hit. No sacks, but not even a quarterback hit. I mean, this is just like, what do you expect? It's just.
Yeah, it's I will say I put together a little note preparing for this.
Mm-hmm.
There are some things for Giants fans to feel okay about.
Okay.
The first thing is, yeah, you'll need it. The first thing is week 1 is weird in the NFL. It always is. Teams don't really know what's going to hit them, and then midway through the game they get smacked in the mouth and they have to react a lot of times. Week 1, look at the Bengals, smacked by the Browns.
Also Chiefs, a rainy game.
Yes.
Also a very rainy game.
Chiefs lose to the Lions. Lions are a good team, but was still at home. He's, missing Kelsey, missing Chris Jones.
Mm-hmm.
You would think they would win. They lost. And then Seattle loses to the Rams, and a lot of people think the Rams could win maybe 1-2 games this year.
Yeah.
Maybe a few more because
I'll tell you what, they actually looked pretty good. Like, those Rams receivers looked pretty good. Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
He looked really good.
And they'll get cut back week 5 too. But week 1's weird. If you're going to lose, you might as well get destroyed that way because you can throw away the tape. You can work on everything. I think that a lot of times it's different than losing a heartbreaker in the 4th.
Yeah.
It's tough either way, but
I don't know.
It all counts as a loss. I think at a certain point, no pun intended, when you see sack after sack, when you see a catch and run for 15 with the Giants, it looks good, and then stripped out the last minute down, or the last second down 35 points. It's just where it rains and pours, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, and I also, like I said before, I think it has to do with. I mean, obviously it was raining for both sides,
right?
But the Giants got the shit end of the stick on most of the rain.
Yeah, I would think that the Giants would want to change their game plan around that weather to give Barkley a little more opportunity.
I was also thinking that because he only had, let's just pull this up here. He had like 56 carries. Yards, 14 carries. Like, I mean,
they want to preserve. They want to preserve him too, though, because it's tough. You need these guys to last 17 weeks and plus, if assuming you're a playoff team. So
we weren't going to win that game. We weren't going to win that game running the ball and just like running it with Saquon Barkley too. So it's like you're in this spot.
Yeah, at a certain point when you're down 26, you can't be running the football. Yeah. You gotta throw your way back into the game. Not great. Yeah, O-line, you mentioned it. Defense, I thought was okay-ish at the beginning. A lot of bend, not breaking. Still doing too much bending for my liking. It's tough to like negotiate how far to bend and quote unquote bend and whatnot. But I thought that they were just giving up too much yards early on. That even if they were resulting to 3 points,
I mean, like Dak really didn't have that. Like he didn't throw for a touchdown. He was almost at the same completion percentage as Daniel Jones at 50%, just about, with 143 yards. I mean, I'll tell you what, Tony Pollard looked really good. 2 touchdowns, 5 yards per carry, looked good. It looks like Deuce Vaughn got bottled up. Like we were talking about this in the preseason too. Like some of those games he got bottled up, but I mean. Deuce Vaughn isn't the player that you're concerned with if you're a Cowboys fan. He's a good story, but Brandon Cooks looked good. Still only two receptions, 22 yards. Michael Gallup got that 1 reception. Something that I do want to note, and I still don't really know all the ins. It hasn't been really reported on, but rookie or first-round pick Deontay Banks got taken out and replaced with Nick McLeod, who is competing to be a safety in the preseason. I don't really know what's going on there. But I'll tell you, they kept in Trey Hawkins. Trey Hawkins looked all right on the outside. Like everything that we said that he can, like he stayed draped on these guys. I saw this one that looked worse when, they have like the Sunday Night Football game. I think it was a Brandon Cooks where he just looked like Brandon Cooks just shook him out of his shoes, but he was with him throughout there. Like I said, the edge rushers, I'll tell you what, I feel like I saw a lot more Isaiah Simmons. He didn't really do much, but I saw a lot of Isaiah Simmons, which is, I guess, exciting because I do want to see what he can do. Didn't
Yeah.
really show anything of promise. You mentioned that drive in the fourth quarter with Isaiah Hodgins. That was the most exciting. Isaiah Hodgins, that was the biggest play of the game for the Giants. 24 yards, and then bam,
Yeah.
uh, the ball slips out of his hands because it's pouring rain. I don't know. I'm not really blaming Isaiah Hodgins on that. That's like a little fluky if you ask me. And I tell you what, Isaiah Hodgins looked really good until that happened. You know,
Mhm.
like it was the little flicker of excitement, I would say, that, which is sad. It's just terribly sad. And you may be wondering, you might be, oh, is this a Hakeem Nicks jersey? No, this is an Evan Ingram jersey. You know how many people have Evan Ingram jerseys from the Giants? Not many. Not many.
I was
And
going to say a lot on Jacksonville, maybe.
maybe on Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Because but you know what? I'm wearing this for a reason. I am proud of this jersey because the Giants sucked in 2017, the year
Mhm.
after we made it to the playoffs. But I watched every single game to the end, and the one bright spot was Evan Ingram. He had almost 800 yards as a rookie that year. Like, I
Mhm.
thought he was going to be the next big thing. Giants fans will tell you that they do not like him. I love him as like a prospect and a player. Like, as much as
Yeah.
you hate what he did, like, he's a good talent to have on the field. But I'm just saying, this is like a sign of I'm going to still be there. You asked if I watched the game all the way through. I did. I watched it. I was literally sitting down silent. I had people over. They kind of left because it was awkward because they were like, we don't care that much. And Sean looks like he's about to murder someone, which it was. I got a text from like my group fantasy chat, and somebody was like talking crap about my team. And I was like, you poked the bear at the wrong time, man. You poked the bear at the wrong time. But
Sean will be making those texts available to the public after this podcast, apparently.
I don't think it was that bad.
Okay.
They weren't that bad. I mean, I'm not too ashamed of it, but I don't need to air the dirty laundry. You know.
There you go.
Is there anything else you want to say about this game? We saw the legend Cooper Rush come in.
Yeah, just got away from the Giants. I thought it reminds me of last year with the Giants. I don't know if you agree. It seems like when they play bad teams, they play well and they'll probably win.
Mm-hmm.
And when they play teams that are good, um, they often lose. And I think we have to see this with this coming with this Giants team. This year you need to see them beat good teams. And of course, it depends on how you view a good team, what defines a
Yeah.
good team. Dallas, I would say, is a good team. It seems
Yeah.
like they have the Giants' number. It seems like within the last few years, the Eagles as well have their number. So I think it's interesting. They'll have to play both of those teams, Cowboys one more time, Eagles twice. They'll have to like get their feet wet and maybe split with both. I think it's interesting with them because they can handle bad teams and they can play well too during those games. It's not like they're just winning because they're playing bad teams.
Yeah.
They're playing decent football. You got to see them put together a good game against. You got to be good. Ultimately, to be a great team in the NFL, you have to beat good teams and very solid teams. I don't know if we've seen that with the Giants as of late.
I know, like last year, the Ravens win. Like that was something that I
Mhm.
feel like that was like a good team, but still, the Ravens didn't really have like a playoff push. Obviously, they had Tyler Huntley, I think, coming in at that point. But
Yeah,
still,
I think beating Minnesota last year in the playoffs, you could be intrigued a little bit, but everybody also saw the Vikings they won a lot of games early on this season, which was great. It seemed like that was their best football. Then at the end of the season, they were lucky to get into the playoffs because of stuff that they did earlier in the year. So, it's hard to disregard a lot of these games that the Giants are playing because, they want some credit too, which they can get, but I think we got to see them beat some very good teams to get a good idea of what they can become. And I think last night was a good test, and it just was not in the cards from the start of kickoff to, the final whistle.
yeah, and that was especially for Giants. Like I've been looking forward to this all year. You
Yeah.
know, all off season since the end of last year, and Bobby Skinner also put up another big good fact. We got blown out our last two games. The last game against the Eagles, you guys crushed us. We scored 7 points. This game, we scored 0. Like I said, even Graham Gano couldn't who's always one of the best kickers in the league. 0 for 2. Obviously, the block one by Noah Igbenogany. And
I
the
think
other
I
one,
think
Noah,
I
it's
think
Noah Igbenogany.
yeah, I mean, I think you had it right the sixth time. It actually sounded good. I think with kicking, Gano's a legend. I think he's also 36, so like maybe there's concern with age. Conditions
Yeah,
for kicking also looked miserable. I have a hard
yeah,
time
oh yeah,
looking at
yeah.
it. So like it is like when that one kick went so wide left, it's like that's a weather thing.
And also with like, I almost when we were that far down, and especially like Dayball got that name Balls of Steel because of that win that we had last year that we won going for two.
Yeah.
You know, when we could have just shorted up going for two. I almost, especially knowing the Cowboys, I know that we kind of marched down the field easily. I kind of wish, even after that botched play from John Michael Schmitz, we just went for it with that rain too. Just went for it. I don't know
Yeah.
if that would have turned the tides of the game, but and honestly,
Maybe.
when I was there too, I was like, you know what, we'll still get points. We'll still get like Graham Cadeau's automatic, and
Right,
the
right,
rain
right.
really showed. Yeah,
Probably what David was thinking too.
yeah, yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. I still have faith. Like, I'll tell you this right now, and you can tell me otherwise.
Yeah.
I think the Cowboys' defense proved to be elite. Like, especially against like, we'll see.
We'll
This is
see.
like this
Yeah.
is overreaction. So next week we play the Cardinals, who just played
Mhm.
the Commanders, and the Cardinals defense actually got after Sam Howell. We'll get into that next,
Mhm.
but this is a good test to see next week if it's just is the Dallas D line that good? Because that's the thing. Like, it's not like it was Micah Parsons every time. Like, some of these sacks came from Demarcus Lawrence had one. I mean, that's like
Alston had one, I think.
Osa Digizua had two. Chauncey Golston, like what?
Yeah.
Don't even know. Like, Micah Parsons only had one, too. Dorrance Armstrong, who's like their third, fourth, he had two sacks. Like, it just, and I thought Dante Fowler had one too. It's not showing up here, but I thought he did.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see about the Dallas
we'll
defense
see.
going forward. I think that obviously when they were great last night, when you take out Thomas, when you have the issues at guard, when you have the issues
Mhm.
with Evan Neal, I think
Yeah,
it's just I think it reminded me of the Eagles playing the Commanders last year in Washington, where they had 8 sacks on Carson Wentz. It's just one of those games where they're going to feast. Now, maybe they continue like that. I don't think they're going to have the same success on in better weather against better offensive lines against
yeah,
quarterbacks that can move, that can get the ball out, that can play smart.
yeah.
So
And
yeah,
we should
well,
have been able to get the ball. I wish it didn't. We didn't get enough of those like quick game balls
yeah,
out. You know,
yeah,
didn't really see anything from Paris Campbell. Jalen Hyatt. I don't know if you caught that play, but it was Jalen Hyatt wide open going across the middle like a 15-yard crosser.
yes.
Would have been a huge play. Drops it right out of his hands. I mean, I know with the rain, but that was just that
I would
hurt.
have to see the play again. It looked, I could be wrong. It looked like the ball was a little behind him, maybe not, but
I mean, it hit
weather-wise,
him in
so
the hands. You
yeah,
know, it wasn't the best placement, but yeah,
yeah,
it hit him in the hands.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Rough start.
Yeah, good game, Cowboys. Good game. You know, I'm not gonna make excuses. I mean, we lost 40-0. So I think we can move on here. Do
It
you
could
want
have been
to?
worse. You know how it could have been worse, though. I'm not even kidding, Sean.
No. Oh yeah. Please, I need all the help.
You could have lost 41-0.
Okay. Well, you know what? I will offer any Giants fan listening to this. Our team is still healthy for the most part. Andrew Thomas, it
Mhm.
seems like everything's going to be fine with him. I think that was just more of a safety protocol. So all the excitement that we had for the Giants, that seems to have been crushed in that first game. I still think Daniel Jones, I don't think he just became a pauper in the first game. If you watch the game, what was he supposed to do with that line? You know,
Yeah, I think
he had no opportunity to throw the ball down the field and actually like highlight these new weapons that he has. So
yeah, I think early on we still saw the same tendencies of how he's a deer in the headlights sometimes when there's pressure and when
mhm.
there's not as much open receivers opportunities with space down the field. We'll see. I don't think last night was a definition of who Daniel Jones is, but he's going to have to balance playing defenses that can get to him, that can make plays downfield when they're not sacking him too. So
We're 2 games. I mean, we have the Cardinals, so like this is a get right game against the Cardinals. Must win. Like if we want to make the playoffs, we need to beat the teams that we're supposed to beat. We can get into that, but I think that the Niners line is just as scary, if not scarier, than the Cowboys. So
probably,
and
yeah.
that's in 2 weeks, also in prime time. So I really hope that the Giants don't lose 2 of their first games in prime time for the world to see, and everybody thinks that we suck. Let's hit this Commanders game. Did you watch this Cardinals Commanders game?
Didn't see much. I know that the Cardinals were winning, I think, for most of the game until 2 minutes left of the game. Um, Sounds like Washington had a lot of difficulty moving the ball, scoring, but you can talk better to that than I can.
I did. So this was a game. Not only did I want to cover this game because I wanted to watch it to speak on it, but I thought this was a lock. We talked about how the Cardinals are the worst team in the league. Josh Dobbs, nothing to be afraid of. Their defense doesn't have any real stars. I think Stephen Collins kind of emerged as a star this game. I think this is his 3rd year as a linebacker. Now he's transitioned to mostly edge rusher for the Cardinals. Right. And obviously Budda Baker, one of the best safeties in the league. But I thought this was a lock. I thought this was going to be a great game. Terry McLaurin played the whole game. Looked all right. Sam Howell, like he made it work with his legs. He had, well, not really. I thought he had the rushing touchdown.
He had a rushing touchdown, which
but he only it seemed like he did more through the touchdown. But that touchdown wasn't like that touchdown. It was to Brian Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big notes that I have to say is that we were talking about how like the Cardinals don't have anybody. They had, I think, 7 sacks as well on Sam Howell. They were just getting after. So Dennis Garnecki, Gardeck, 2 sacks. He's kind of a no one, probably the biggest name that they're hyping up. But yeah, that touchdown pass that he had to Brian Robinson, he was kind of just like under pressure, but that kind of showed how he could make good decisions under duress. And he kind of like flicked it to Brian Robinson, who found open space in the end zone, which is good because, like I said, Brian Robinson is on all my fantasy teams. It seemed like every time that they were in the red zone, something would happen and they'd be forced to a field goal. Like they'd be marching and like, congrats on the win. You guys are 1-0. You guys are, I guess, tied for first technically in the NFC East this week.
Yes.
I think the Cowboys have the technical lead because they beat us division. But, some things to take away from this game. Brian Robinson is definitely the lead back by far. I mean, he was in there the majority of the game. Just looking at these carries, Brian Robinson, 19 carries for 59 yards. So the average wasn't there.
I heard Antonio Gibson fumbled too. So
that's bringing back
if he fumbled early in the game, I'm sure that influenced them to go to Brian Robinson for the entire game.
I mean, Chris Rodriguez too, who like they were definitely trying to feature him. He had 3 carries for 7 yards, 2.3 per carry. I know I was really hype on Jahan Dotson, still am. Terry McLaurin was pretty quiet. Obviously, he's still dealing with that injury coming in there. But yeah, Curtis Samuel, who we were talking about, like, don't sleep on Curtis Samuel. He was an amazing player for the Panthers right before free agency, comes to the Commanders, gets injured the first year there. Looked pretty solid last year, had some really good games last year, and, it's not like he lit it up where people are going to be praising him, but still 5 receptions for 54 yards, and he had a nice run for 6 yards. I mean, like, he's going to be featured in here. Honestly, I'll tell you what, I didn't notice Emmanuel Forbes struggling. Like, nothing stood out where I'm like, how I was a little concerned with him.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing stood out positively, but
yeah, I think it makes sense. I think it helps too that you're going up against Arizona, Joshua Dobbs, and
yeah.
I think that's a team you want to kind of play in these situations as a rookie.
And you want to not be exposed. If you're exposed against Josh Dobbs and like all the credit to Michael Wilson, and Hollywood Brown, great receiver, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see this game as a lock for Washington because I don't think Washington's that good. I thought they would win, but it didn't surprise me that they had trouble with Arizona because they're just not that good of a team. Offensively, it looks like they struggled. New quarterback, but there's still a lot of talent on that offense to, only put up 20 points. They always say if you give up 17 points, maybe even 20 points is a pretty good day overall for your team. Washington got there, but it looked like it took them a while. And not surprised how this game went.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like I said, their O-line against Arizona defensive front that doesn't have any, tell me,
right.
What do you know about Jonathan Ledbetter?
I've heard the name before, but I don't know much about him.
1 sack. Yeah, I didn't even know he was in the league. Like Carlos Watkins, unaware of him. Dennis Gardeck, I knew about. They call him the Barbarian. Everybody loves that. But hey, 2 sacks. Victor Temukaji, never heard of him. Sack. I mean, obviously, random players can walk into sacks, but that's what I'm saying is that everybody was getting pressure against them.
Right.
So we'll see how that O-line goes. Something else that I want to note too, just I said to highlight the Cardinals play too, because we're all going to be playing the Cardinals. Let's be real, they're not a team to be scared of. But hey, David Collins looks pretty solid. Yeah, he had the fumble recovery and an interception. Looked pretty good.
Yeah. He went to Tulsa, American Conference Rising. So I remember when they drafted him, and they had Isaiah Simmons at the time. It's like, wow, they've got a lot of linebackers. It's a little interesting, but obviously,
and the same kind of hybrid-esque linebackers too.
Yeah. I mean, it's intriguing. They're always looking for new trends, and I think they want to look for guys who can run fast in the middle of the field, but also cover really well. And I think last 10 years ago, linebackers were there to make tackles, maybe stops around the line of scrimmage. They finished the year with 160 tackles. Doesn't really tell you the full story. Yeah. Now they want these linebackers to be safety-esque kind of players. So
yeah, versatile. What did you think about Jonathan Gannon? I mean, your old Eagles coordinator, first head coaching debut.
From what I can gather from the game, it sounds like a success enough for them because they were winning most of the game. They lose at the end, but defense seemed like it played well. Offense doesn't have much going for them, but I mean they gathered a few points here and there. I think I don't know what to make. I don't know what they're going to do. I think they might go 0-17. They'll probably find one way to win, but it's going to be weird for them because I think Gannon. It depends. The coaches are hired to get fired.
Yeah,
and I think that.
It could be Steve Wilkes. Does we did with Josh Rosen?
Even if he's okay with going 0-17 to get that quarterback next year, which he might be, he still could get fired by Arizona. So he might be digging his own grave. I don't know. He's not a very good defensive coordinator overall. He has moments, but he also needed a lot of talent in Philadelphia last year to get him anywhere close to the finish line. So,
well, hey, I mean, he found a way to get to the quarterback. Sam Howell is that's why I want to see this will be kind of a litmus test. Just having the Cardinals play the Commanders and then us week to week. So we'll see. So if the Giants can hold up and not surrender 6 sacks or 7 sacks, which we did to the Cowboys, but like I said, the Commanders offered up 6, had 6 sacks on Sam Howell.
Mm-hmm.
I was writing off this Cardinals game. I was like, man, I don't even know if I'd be excited. Now I'm excited because this is actually my chance to see if the Giants can at least bring some excitement this year.
The Cardinals will face the Giants in Dallas and San Francisco, then Cincinnati. They're going to be tested. They have Seattle, Baltimore too in the near future there, and the Rams in their own division. So they're going to be tested. I don't think they were tested on yesterday, which is good and bad for them. I think it was good because it gave them a chance to win, bad because ultimately they didn't win and they lost to a team that's not very
Yeah,
good.
that's definitely
So
like if you're a Cardinals fan, you're thinking if we're gonna win a game, maybe we
that
can
was
still
it.
win. And they were close. They
Yeah.
were close too.
And again, like I've said with week one games, week one is very weird in the NFL for
Mm.
every team. Maybe this could have been their break, but it wasn't because, you still have JG as your head coach and everything just goes wrong with that. But they'll have some opportunities to play some good teams in the next month.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. You want to get to this Eagles Patriots game, man? It was a little
Would love to.
closer than I
It was
feel
a little
like.
closer. Um, I will start with the excuses to begin and then get
Oh, yeah,
into why
bring him on, dude.
and
Bring him
then
on.
get to why they stunk in the second half.
Yeah.
Weather was awful,
Mm-hmm.
not just awful to play
Same
in.
here.
Yes, a
Yeah.
lot of people on the East Coast know about the weather. Not fun at all. Bill Belichick is the best NFL coach ever. He is also probably the best defensive mind ever. He had 4
Mm-hmm.
months to prepare for this game. I'm not saying they should have been that bad. I get how they were able to prepare in Bill Belichick, and they did a pretty decent job of that. Although they didn't really surprise us with anything on defense, so it's also an issue for the Eagles. Those are the two big ones. The third one would be, like I've mentioned 500 times already on this podcast, week one's just weird. On the
Yeah.
road, it's just it's a weird kind of game to get over. Once you get over, hopefully you're off and running after that, whatever team you are. But getting through week one, there are a lot of bad outcomes of good teams that we saw with the Chiefs,
Mm-hmm.
with the Bengals, and with Seattle. So that being said, excuses over. Eagles jump off to a quick 16-0 lead. You're never really comfortable as an Eagles fan, but you're feeling good. And then New England put a drive together, and then the Eagles just went conservative on offense. Brian Johnson, offensive coordinator, he was the quarterbacks coach last year with Philly, did a great job. Everybody thought he would transition well as an offensive coordinator, went very conservative with the play calling. I
Mm.
also thought he opened it up in the second half a little bit, which was good. But the main story, the main thing I took away from yesterday was
Yep.
that Jalen Hurts was just not good. Did not play well, didn't play smart. In ways, played to lose. Had a fumble at the end of the game, which is just, you can't do that. You have to hold on to the football. And it was a good play. And everybody always says, stop running him. You have to run Jalen Hurts. He's too good at it. It's how the offense clicks. It's how you
Mm-hmm.
move the ball. That play itself, before the fumble happened, it would have been 2nd and 2. With like 3.5 minutes, you would have continued to move the ball, break down. That's how the Eagles break down teams. They're up a score 2. There's 8 minutes left of the game, and they just
Mm-hmm.
run down the field. It takes them 12 plays, but they'll give you 12 plays, 50 yards over 8, and they'll use up the whole clock. Maybe they'll score at the end to give them a better lead or to give them a 2-possession lead to ultimately clinch the game. But that's what they do. And they're going to do that. And Hurts looked good running it there. Would have had 9 yards, and he fumbled it. Jabril Peppers hit a big hit.
Yeah.
Good, very good play by him. But you can't fumble there. Hurts looked pretty phased the
No,
entire
did the
game.
rain die down by that time? I feel like it kind of did. So I mean, it was probably still slippery, but I feel like it wasn't like.
I don't think. Yeah, I'd have to check, but I don't think it was like raining that much at that point. I guess the ball was probably wet, but that's
Yeah.
it wasn't like raining. And yeah, he didn't look comfortable moving out of the pocket. Didn't look comfortable. He's got great weapons. That New England played Dallas Goedert. They kept him out of the game, which good strategy. But you also have AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, guys who
Yeah.
they're great players. So he used them a little bit throughout the game, enough where they were able to get the win. But and ultimately you're happy to get out of there with the win because things could have gone south. You could have seen them ultimately losing that game.
It was
So
close at the end there, man.
yeah,
It was
no
very
doubt,
close.
no doubt. It came down to an LSU rookie receiver not being able to get a second foot in. So
Which
you don't.
he did twice, dude.
Yes, he
Keisha
did.
Booty, dude.
Yes,
Like what? I mean, he looked good aside from the fact he doesn't know where his feet are. You know?
Yeah, no doubt. That's a tough thing. Like people are like getting on him. It's like I don't know.
But that's his first year in the NFL. You know, like
Right.
in
That's
college,
what,
you only need 1 foot. You know, he's
no
not
doubt.
used to that.
No doubt. It's like, yeah, I always think that like quarterbacks can help out receivers too in those situations by trying to keep the ball a little more off the sideline. But that's, you can't be too picky. Um,
Yeah.
New England has, I don't think their offense is that good. I don't think their playmakers are that good. They're
Hmm.
better than I gave them credit going in. I thought the Eagles' defense was pretty good overall. A few drives where they looked bad. They made Kendrick Bourne look like a superstar. The Eagles are the
Yeah.
kings of making mediocre players look like Jerry Rice in his prime. It is the most annoying thing ever. They give 2 touchdowns to Kendrick Bourne. Um,
So do you think watching this game, because you watched it more intently than I did, I was watching
yeah,
it, but I have a mini David Buster's in my house where I have 4 TVs, so I get
I
to
saw that
surround
set up. That looked nice.
it. Yeah. Actually, it was only 3. My friend, Giants fan Dan, he had bronchitis. He couldn't bring the 4th today. So,
Come on,
um,
man.
I know, it's tough, but this week versus the Cardinals, where they need him in that 4th TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kendrick Bourne. Do you think like this is like? It seemed as though that he was the wide receiver one by far. I mean, the biggest offensive weapon which I saw coming into this year was Ramondre Stevenson.
Yes.
You guys really shut him down on the ground, though.
They did. I think they were saying that he was a little sick going into the game. I'll give the Eagles front line credit. They were hitting him as soon as he got, as soon as he was touching the ball, and he didn't get much room. It probably would have helped him if he wasn't under the weather a little bit. But I thought that they handled Steve. That was where they played the best. I think at the defensive line, stopping the run. I thought they handled Stevenson very, very well, which was great to see. Secondary wise for the Eagles, they had moments. The pick six by Slay, which was great, but
Oh yeah,
they also were kind of getting picked apart by Mac Jones of the offense for a few series that led to probably touchdowns for New England to make the game close. So they have to balance that out. They lose Nakobe Dean. He'll probably go on IR. He's probably going to miss around 4 weeks. Christian,
so what was that injury? Do you know?
I think his foot.
Oh
I
yikes!
think the same foot that he's been kind of hobbled with throughout training camp. I can't confirm that yet. I don't know if it's the same foot, but I would assume it is. Christian Ellis stepped in his place, played well. He's someone who plays well for this team the last few years when he's asked to play on defense, which is great. But this is another issue I have with the Eagles. They brought on 3 linebackers for their 53-man roster. You just can't. I think Howie's great. I think he's very smart at basically everything. His handling, and I agree with him ultimately that like linebackers on defense isn't the most important position and probably is the least important. I get you, Howie. You can't have 3 linebackers, though. You need a little more depth there, and they just signed.
Do you think Sidney Brown could come up as like a box safety hybrid?
I mean, if they
That's
wanted
a
to,
hard ask.
if they wanted to explore that, maybe he can hit, which will give him an advantage. He is a rookie. I don't know how much, if any, he played at Illinois in that kind of scheme. Maybe you develop him a little bit going forward. I think that's a tall ask to say week 2. Hey, you're going to have to crowd the blocks and step up as a linebacker. They have Nicholas Morrow on their practice squad, who they thought was going to be a starter. Didn't even make the team. They just signed Rashad Evans, the Alabama linebacker who was with the Titans for a good bit, for the practice squad. We'll see. They're kind of just like putting band-aids here and there. Guys who've had experience and have had some success, but not great there. And I think, another thing besides the defensive line, stopping the run, Jalen Carter had a big sack at the end of the game.
I was just thinking into that. Yeah,
they were saying 6. I saw 3 different people say. One person said he had 6 pressures. One person said 7. One person said 8. So I'll go with 7 to put it in the average. He was moving the offensive line for the Pats really well, and he was. It was weird because like the Eagles finished with 2 sacks towards the end of the game. It seemed like the pressure was pretty much there. I don't know why. They just weren't able to get to the quarterback. It was always like one half step too late. But
and Jordan Davis too. Jordan Davis with a half sack too. Like,
absolutely, it was a nice.
That was like the one thing. Like, can he also get after the quarterback?
Which was nice to see. Timely stack too for him. Fletcher Cox had a few plays at the end of the game, 2 in a row, that were vintage Fletcher, which you love to see as well. Eagles escape a win. Good. Uh, hopefully, I'm hoping the weather played a big factor to why they were not great. I think that, you got to give Bill Belichick credit.
Mhm.
He's just a mastermind at everything when it comes for football. But and in a way, an odd way too, I think with the Eagles, like a quick turnaround because they play Thursday night against the Vikings, that might be the best thing for them to get this taste out of their mouth sooner than later. I don't love that the Vikings lost to, of all teams, the Bucks, who I think are awful, because the Vikings are going to be hungry to get a win. They don't want to go
Yeah.
0-2 to start the year.
Justin
But
Jefferson looked pissed. He
I
looked
bet
pissed, man.
it's tough because Kirk's another story. It's like he is
Mhm.
talented, but he's also one of those guys who he's had his ceiling just is not anywhere high enough. But anyway, with that, hopefully the Eagles just say, let's go. There's work to be done, but hostile environment, hostile, weather. We can move on. And that's okay with me. I want them to play better. I think there's a lot of room for them to play better. You ultimately won, and there's stuff to work on, but I think that it's okay after week one. There's
Yeah.
rust too. I think Jalen was rusty, didn't play, a real snap since the Super Bowl of last year. So hopefully there was,
Mhm.
getting the rust off. I thought it was a little more than just rust. Like it just nothing was click. It wasn't even like conservative. It was like ultra conservative. Nothing was clicking.
Even the defense, I'm surprised you guys didn't get after like the Patriots line. I would also say is like middling. You know,
Yeah, no,
I mean,
I would.
you guys had like 4 sacks. Josh Sweat got after
I don't
got after
think
the
if they
pack
had
too.
four, that's great because I don't think they had that many. Their line is pretty bad. They had some injuries too going to the game. It's weird
Mhm.
though because like you assume on the pick six, if you get a sack there, which they might have, I don't know if there was pressure, you'd
Yeah,
rather have the pick six. So like a lot
yeah,
of it's like semantics kind of stuff when it comes to sacks and turnovers. But I was surprised I didn't have more sacks. It wasn't like Mac Jones. He didn't get the ball out necessarily all the time quickly. He was holding on to it and getting receivers open and waiting
yeah.
for
I
them to
mean,
finish their route. So,
Mac Jones looked like
yeah,
the Mac Jones everybody loved 2 years ago. And
absolutely.
like that's just a league. It's just like
That's a
what
good,
have you done for me lately?
no
But
doubt. It's a
he
tough.
looked good. Like I
Yeah,
mean, hey, you know what? For me, somebody who was like, you know what? I'll just wait to the end of the fantasy draft. I'll get to Daniel Jones, get to Geno Smith. Those guys
right.
were. Geno Smith was garbage. Even Joe Burrow. Like I mean, like we'll see too. Like you said, week one. But I
Yeah,
think when people succeed, that's less fluky. I feel like when people fail, that's more fluky week one.
yeah.
But Mac Jones, like I think he's gonna be spreading the ball around. Like nobody got a majority of the share of the targets. Like Kendrick Bourne got those 2 touchdowns, but
Right.
I'm kind of curious to see how this Patriots team moves under the new offensive coordinator. Well, Bill O'Brien returning, but new to Mac Jones here uh,
Yeah,
in New
I
England.
think.
So we'll
Yeah, I
see.
think. Like I said earlier, I didn't give them enough credit on offense. I'm looking at their list. Even though I don't think Kendrick Bourne is that good, he's been in the league a good bit. He's capable receiver.
Yeah,
Hunter Henry's a decent tight end. Mike Gesicki's also a decent tight end. Juju
yeah,
Smith-Schuster,
receiving. Yeah,
okay. So it looks like the Ty Montgomery too. That was interesting. I can't believe he's still in the league.
I
But
know, right, dude? Like he had
I
that
mean,
1 year for the Packers, and then
yeah.
it just
So interesting nonetheless. But yeah, and their defense. I mean, their defense is going to finish top five, top six. So um,
yeah.
credit to them. They don't have much talent on offense when it comes to star power, but they gave us a run for their money, no doubt. So good for them. Hopefully the Eagles learn from it. We're able to escape a win, which is good. So alas, we move on. Not great position, but they'll work on it.
Yeah, I do also just want to say for Cowboys fans, Zeke Elliott, nice fumble, but he
Yes.
looks like he's gonna be like the Patriots, like runner of the ball. Like they're gonna
Yeah.
use Ramondre all over, more of like a going out, get those little bubble screens and whatnot. I feel like if they want that hard yardage, they're gonna be putting in Zeke. So he similar role to what he was in Dallas last year, but
Yeah, he hasn't been there too long either. The Dallas just signed him really a few weeks ago too. So impressed that he got all those touches. They felt comfortable enough to put him in there. I think at this point in his career, at his age, all the hits he has taken, Steven should be the starter. Elliott's a pretty
Mhm.
good backup though. It's
Yeah,
less touches, but he can be a playmaker. He's not going to be as fast. His agility isn't as there like when he was in Ohio State, early years in Dallas. He proved he could get into the end zone still last year with Dallas with double-digit touchdowns. I think that punch with him and Stevenson is interesting. I'm hoping New England can steal a game from Dallas going forward, and they play that well like they did against us. I don't know if they will. I think everybody starts off 0-0. I'm sure that the New England soccer room was rah-rah excited going into the
And
game.
Tom Brady, dude, was hype as
Tom
heck, dude. I
Brady
thought he was gonna
halftime.
hop in there, dude. Maybe try to
Oh
do a
my
little,
god.
maybe even try to do a little wide receiver like he did against the Eagles in the Super Bowl and
I
failed.
remember that. That's one
Maybe
of my
wanted that
favorite highlights.
redemption, man.
Maybe, but uh yeah, I think I'll give New England credit too. They were punched in the mouth early, going down 16-0, and they scrapped their way back into it. I don't know. It helps to not really. I mean, they're playing for something week one, but I think the
Oh
Cardinals,
yeah.
they know that they're probably going to finish.
I mean, dude, everybody on this team is playing for another contract. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And it's hard not to be united underneath,
Yeah.
Bill Belichick, no matter what you think. Another thing, I don't know if you think this is a non-story in terms of this game. Rashad Penny was a healthy scratch for you
Yeah,
guys,
that's interesting. Good point.
and Kenneth Gainwell was like the only really featured running back of the
Yeah, it
like
was
one
bizarre.
carry for DeAndre, one carry for
One
Boston
catch,
Scott.
Boston
So
Scott got.
you were right. You were saying that Kenneth Gainwell was going to be
Yeah,
featured, and it's kind of exciting, and I wasn't expecting it as a Giants fan.
he started off strong against New England. Nothing wrong with Kenny Gainwell. Good player. They have a lot of trust in him. That's why he got all those carries. He's a good player. He's not a starter. He is someone who does
Mhm.
best. It's not really a change of play back. You just put him in to complement the starting running back. You
Mhm.
give the starting running back a breather. He can still give you 6 yards a carry here and there. And I think that's where he's best. Where the defense is tired. You just have to face off Miles Sanders last year, who was gashing you up, even statistically wise, in games for the Eagles when he was playing. And then Gainwell would come in with a burst of speed because he's fresh, he's young, he's coming off the sidelines, and he'd give you 5 to 6 rushes for 36 yards for a game and stuff like that, and that's good stuff. I don't
Mhm.
think he's a starter. I do get why they trust him and why they want to give him the ball, but running towards the end of the game, the second half was miserable for the Eagles. I don't know. I don't know why you're bringing Rashad Penny to
For a healthy
a
scratch,
healthy
man.
scratch. If he's not that good, I actually do get that. If he
Because
isn't good,
we don't know how he looks after this injury.
but
Like I
you
haven't seen
should
him.
have you should have cut him. You should if you don't think he's that good, get rid of him and find someone else that's good. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
You brought him in. You owe him not much money and guaranteed anything. I think you owe him like a few $100,000. If he's not the guy, release him. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. So that's a concern.
Weird.
How they handle that. I know they want to get him to the finish line ultimately, but like you don't want to do it by resting him for half of the year. So we'll see.
Yeah. And also see how he handles it too. Like just like you
Yeah.
said, getting that like running backs, I feel like is less about the rust. Is like if you just gotta hit a hole,
Right.
you could hit a hole. But dude, Kenneth Gainwell, I mean, he also had the 4 receptions too for 20 yards.
Yeah,
Like he was
he's
a
talented.
featured part of your offense. Yeah.
No doubt. He's intriguing and he's talented in both running and catching the football. I think the reason why the Eagles were always going to activate 3 running backs for game day, most likely. I just assumed it would be Boston Scott. They want to keep him in because he's our only kick returner. But the issue is in today's NFL, they've really gotten rid of the kick return.
You don't need the kicker.
So it's weird to hold on to Boston Scott. Activate Boston Scott for 2 games.
Mhm.
In New York against the Giants, in Philadelphia against the Giants. That's it.
Yeah, oh, dude, I swear that's the only reason why he has a job is just for the Giants.
I'll give Boston credit. He is a talented player, and he does mix it in even games against the Giants too. It's just weird to have Rashad Penny be a healthy start. Like it's just bizarre. I don't get it. I think that I always thought they should have upgraded at running back throughout free agency, into the draft, into training camp. But they did. They traded for DeAndre Swift, which is good. And they don't use him, which I don't get. I mean, I think they were so thrown off of maybe Bill Belichick, and maybe for good reason. he could do bad things to good teams, so maybe they were a little spooked, but I don't know. I just find it weird.
How did Christian Barmore play? He played, right? That because he was the Alabama defensive tackle.
Defensive tackle. I think they moved him to defensive end. I could be wrong about that.
It looks like he
I
got
don't
one
think
tackle.
I
Yeah.
didn't really know the end of the game. Love him,
Dude,
obviously. But
So I mean, I didn't watch everything. Matthew Judon did what he did. He got a nice sack. Josh Uche, who everybody really loves for the
yeah,
Patriots, he got a sack.
he did.
Um,
He's good.
and Christian Gonzalez, dude, I didn't see that play. Can you tell
He
me?
broke up. Yeah, he broke up. AJ Brown shook him once,
Mhm.
but he also broke up a 4th and 2. The Eagles went for it on New England's like 43.
Mhm.
Last possession for them, he broke up a slant to Devontae Smith that gave New England the ball. If Devontae Smith caught that ball, it would have been game over. The Eagles would have ran clock.
Yeah.
The throw wasn't
So Christian
great.
Gonzalez looks pretty good as
Yeah, so
like
that play looked good. He also looked pretty good in coverage overall. He was shook a little bit on a few plays, as is can expect, but he looked solid. I mean, one of the things that it comes down to is confidence, and we saw this with Josh Jobe had to come in at the end of the game too.
mhm.
And cornerback, just be confident. That'll give you such a
Yeah.
push, leg up when it comes to defending these receivers. And Christian Gonzalez looked confident, played decently, and you know that defense add talent to them. They're going to finish top 5, top 6 in defense, even though they might
Yeah.
not. They might be under 500 to win. So says a lot about the team, but tough game for sure. I'm hoping they can maybe smack around the NFC East like they did with us, and but ultimately get some wins.
Yeah. Well, hopefully not against the New York Football Giants, but we kind of have their number, so we'll see. We'll see. Any other takeaways as we wrap up week 1? Don't give up hope, Giants fans, is what I have to say. Don't listen,
Keep hope
guys.
alive.
I'm sure everybody's been through it. You got to lean into it too. Don't be like, when people bust your balls, don't be a little whiny baby. Listen, you can cry. You can cry from football in a romantic way, like if a win happens or there's
Yeah,
like some like you, and then you're a man, dude. You love football. If you cry for losing, you're a pussy. So I will tell you this right now: it's okay. You know, you don't be a loser and like punch the wall. I'm not a wall puncher. I just stood in silence. Just stood in silence. It was miserable. I
yeah.
just kind of just soaked. Jeremy, like I said, I don't know if I already said you called me. I was like, Jeremy, not right now. Not
I
right
did
now,
do that.
Jeremy. I don't know how angry I sounded, but it was more like I can't do this.
You were
I
fine.
can't
You
hear
were
it.
fine. I like context too. When the Eagles were imploding in their game, I see an incoming call from Sean Gnitzcavich.
Oh yeah.
I go, not now. The Eagles are dying. Let the Eagles die. Let me go into my coffin. And ultimately, I did pick up, and
Yeah.
the Eagles won. So I'm happy.
Yeah. And the Giants did not pick up, but I like it can't be like this. The Giants are like I said, like that was like the worst. Like as soon as we get some sort of steam, the Isaiah Hodgins playing,
Yeah.
you know, fumble from the rain, whatever, dude. Like we just need a fresh start, and we
They got
will
punched.
get.
They got punched in the mouth. I mean, it is what it is. They played a
Yeah,
good team. Um,
we're gonna
you
be
just
pissed. I hope I want to see how we react against the Cardinals team that we should beat,
yeah.
but I think and hopefully, and I don't really care to just like run up the game and destroy, but I think we need to. I think we need to. That's what
Maybe
I'm saying.
there's something to it for some teams. In today's NFL, I don't know if it's like how much it accounts for, but
Or how
back in,
smart it is. You gotta take
back
the
in the
L's.
day, a lot of teams used to do that, and
Hmm.
winning's fun, dominating's even funner or more fun. So
Yeah, yeah,
uh, yeah, there. I mean, I guess we'll jump into previews now, but we can start
yeah.
with that game. I think the Giants handle Arizona. Arizona sucks. The Giants are mad. It's a perfect get right game, or get a little more right than what they were after week 1. Where's the game? Is it in New York?
It is in Arizona, actually.
Okay. I'm not concerned about it being away. Traveling, on a flight for 4.5 hours or whatever. Ultimately, you would rather be home, because sometimes those time zones and just being away that far has an impact. They'll be fine. They'll get a win. I don't know.
Um,
I think they should win pretty handily too.
so yeah, like it's the same Cardinals team. Yeah, did they compete against the Commanders? But I don't know if that doesn't. I think them competing against the Commanders was them taking advantage of a poor Commanders O line, which is what I said earlier. The way that they won with 6 sacks against the Commanders, with which I would say is, I don't know, like they don't have an Andrew Thomas to shore it up. Actually really like Ben Bredesen. There is one thing to note too is that Ricky Stromberg had to go in for the Commanders too because Sam Cosmi went down, their left guard, who played right tackle for him his second year, and then Nick Gates had to go in for him, former Giant. So you got to see a little bit of Ricky Stromberg. So like that maybe with the rookie center. But we have a rookie center too. Our rookie center is more highly touted. I believe in him a little bit more.
Starting a rookie at center is tough in general. It's one
Well,
of the when they play well, you don't notice, which is good.
mhm.
When you can't control the snap, the Eagles have had it. Google Mike McGlynn, early 2010s Eagles center who sucked. It is a miserable, noticeable position when the guy is bad. And usually it's
I
because they're
mean,
young.
people are saying John Michael Schmitz should be very similar to like Creed Humphrey, who was the Chiefs like second round pick, who like was the best center in the league.
Yeah.
We didn't really see it. He didn't do awful. Like I said, I was reading it. He finished middle of the pack for centers as a rookie in that rain game against a tough Dallas defense. Tough, and I'll admit it. Like I thought we were going to win that game, so I will just go back. I will like good win, Cowboys. I'll eat my words. But we're talking Cardinals here. I want to see some domination here from the Giants in all assets. Like we didn't get a sack last game. Like that's something that we need to improve on. Like I want to see Kayvon with a sack. I want to see Azeez Ojulari with a sack. The Cardinals O line is nothing. They have former Giant Will Hernandez, and they have rookie Paris Campbell, one of the top tackles taken in the draft. So we'll see how this all pans out. But this O line is nothing that we shouldn't be getting sacks on. Like especially with Wink Martindale being somebody who creates sacks and creates those opportunities to get after the quarterback. I want to see Isaiah Simmons revenge game. Like that's huge right here. I want to see Isaiah Simmons revenge game. I want people to be stoked about Isaiah Simmons. Forget the fact that we just got walloped. Let's have some fun here. I want to see Darren Waller actually have that huge game that everybody's been excited for coming into the season. It's a get right game. There's not too much that we can really get into. I think that it is fair to note that I thought that the Cardinals defense did play tough and hard and pissed off against the Commanders, and they still have some superstars who are going to make play. Dennis Gardeck, like I said, we'll see if he's going to get 2 sacks, if he's on pace for a 34 sack season, or if he just took advantage of a poor Commanders line. And Zaven Collins too. That's somebody I'm looking for. Like I don't really fear like an edge linebacker hybrid, although I should because Micah Parsons he's not Micah Parsons, but he is somebody to watch. Like I think that he's going to be a playmaker. I think he's going to get in the Giants' way. I think he was the result of 2 turnovers against the Commanders, so he's somebody to look at. Buda Baker too. Like Buda Baker's play, we'll see. We'll see if he cuts off that middle, like with Jalen Hyatt. I really hope we see a Jalen Hyatt bomb. Please just give me a Jalen Hyatt bomb. I've been waiting all season. The preseason we got hyped up. And then with that, like, please, I'm still hungry, man. Like, I'm hungry to see just see the Giants look good and promising in any sort of way. And I don't care if it's against the Cardinals. If we don't do it against the Cardinals, though, I'm losing a lot of faith for this season.
Yeah, I think that's fair in some ways. I think it's also tough. Like I remember listening to sports radio a few days ago before the Eagles game, and the host was just on, and he's like, if this Eagles team doesn't get 4+ sacks, I'm going to be really heated and concerned. And it's like, in a way, yeah, but like even after the game last night, I think you want to see improvement,
Mm,
significant enough improvement, but I think like it's not the end all be all, even if like you don't completely dominate the Cardinals. I don't
yeah.
know.
No, no, I get that. Like,
Yeah,
I think also like we're not going for like if we get some points on the game early, I wouldn't doubt that we start making the like just showing what we have, like
yeah.
trying it out. But I don't think we're gonna go in there trying to like knock them out from the jump. I think we're gonna play smart, smart. This is the Giants motto. If you don't know, smart, strong, dependable. That's our motto. That's on all of our T-shirts. So
They they
smart, strong,
they
dependable.
might have forgotten that last night.
Yeah, they definitely forgot the dependable. The only thing that I get to depend on them is to ruin my night and somewhat of my life. Like, luckily, yes, so I didn't like put too much Giants hype. I just put like football hype stuff on my social media because I wasn't last season I had it. I was hyped.
I know. I wanted to see the outcome. It's okay though. I understand why things were the way they were last night. I get it.
It's tough. It's tough.
Yes.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's not the end all be all if we
Yeah.
don't destroy the Cardinals, but if we struggle against the Cardinals, that's the
Maybe.
thing. Like
Yeah.
we don't need to wallop them, but if our O line looks disastrous against
Yeah.
that defensive front, that's like nothing special.
Right. It's a good
Then we
point.
have reason to be concerned.
There's definitely reason to be concerned. I think to be really, really, really concerned, I think you need a little more than 2 game sample size. But yeah, there is reason to be concerned if that were the case. Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to say about this game?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, let's. I know that we did this last time. Let's just see. Let's just do some bold predictions for this game. It's for me. I'm a little nervous because I was very, very off with my bold predictions for last game. But you know
Yeah.
what? There's always this game. I think Kayvon Thibodeau's pissed. I think he did not look good in prime time. Prime time Kayvon. Maybe he's a week late, and I think he gets 2 sacks. I'm going to say 2 sacks for Kayvon, and I think as much as I want to say Jalen Hyatt has that big game, I think that he'll have a few catches, but I think this is the game where we're just going to play it safe because we need this. This is a must win. I think that we just go after Darren Waller. I think Darren Waller is going to have that 10 reception, 100 plus, 2 touchdown game, which is
My
bold.
my bold prediction is that the Giants win.
Wow.
Just kidding.
That is very
My
sad.
prediction is the offense will. I'm not going to give you numbers necessarily, but it's going to
Yeah,
look good enough where Tyrod Taylor is able to jump in the game early in the fourth quarter, and the
that would be
Giants will
nice.
be fine.
All right. I like that. I like that. I think that that's a very telling prediction.
Yes,
Um, yeah. So I think we should probably get into the Eagles, considering they're the first game this week. I
they
mean,
are short,
we're
short,
just 3 days away.
short rest could be a good thing, so they can get rid of yesterday's performance out of the way a little
Yeah.
quicker. Um, I wish the Vikings won against the Bucks. They're going to be eager. They're going to be determined. I think the Eagles make a lot of corrections on defense, which is good against Minnesota because I think Minnesota's real threat is their offense with Kirk, Alexander Madison, and of course
Hmm.
Justin Jefferson, and a few other receivers here and there who can make some plays and contribute. So I think the defense makes corrections. I think it can be a close-ish game. I feel like the Eagles should have control for most of it. I think they're going to win.
Hmm.
But it also could be close towards the end. I don't know. It's going to be tough. Uh, I wish the Eagles had more rest. If you give them a few more days, maybe they can get a little more film in, go over some defensive strategies and whatnot. But I think that they win comfortably enough. Not a blowout or anything, but I think they'll, first game back at the link in Philadelphia, great environment.
Hmm.
Got to check the weather, of course, but I think that even though Minnesota's desperate, they don't scare me like other teams have before, like they have before in previous years. Like last year, we played them same time, week 2.
Hmm.
Uh, in Philadelphia, and we defended them really well. Won the game. But I was concerned going into that. For some reason, not as concerned with that. I think we're seeing Minnesota's true colors over the last few years. Good, competent enough, but not anywhere close to where they need to be. So I think that they'll put some points together. They have the offense to do it. They have the quarterback to do
Mhm.
it. Justin Jefferson with the ball in his hands at any time is dangerous. But the Eagles are going to focus in on him a lot like they did last week. I know last year when Darius Slay played him, he had 2 picks off of Cousins that were going to Justin Jefferson. I don't know if I see the exact same thing on Thursday night, but I think that they will game plan for number 18 on Minnesota and ultimately win comfortably enough. Not a blowout, but good game all around.
Some things I definitely want to note here. Kirk Cousins sucks in primetime.
Yes.
And he's also in Philadelphia. So the primetime pressure's on and the Philadelphia pressure's on. Not that
Yes.
that's like anything crazy, but it's something to note.
Yeah.
Um, listen, Kirk Cousins didn't look awful. And like he had that interception,
Yeah.
2 touchdowns, but his stats don't look awful, but in the second half he crumbled. The first half he looked like a god. Justin Jefferson had like 128 yards in the first half, and then nothing in the second. They weren't able to keep up with that. Alexander Madison did nothing on the ground. They had no run game whatsoever. I think that if you guys can shut down Justin Jefferson, like they said, they proved to have no run game, and with your defensive front, if they had no run game against, let's be real, the Bucs' run defense is awesome. They do have some great pieces on that interior, especially. But I see, I think Justin Jefferson is the key to this game. They also they couldn't get after the quarterback last week against the Bucs. Like Baker Mayfield had time to make those plays.
Yeah.
So if they can't, Danielle Hunter is tough. Like Danielle Hunter is one of the best pass rushers in the league, underrated. We'll see, but they lost Zadarius Smith too. Like they lost Dalvin Tomlinson. They lost a lot the front, and
defensive
they haven't really.
playmakers.
And their defense was the most suspect thing about their team last year.
Yeah.
The other thing about the Vikings too is they're the defense that they drafted, Lewis Cine they drafted at safety.
Yes.
Not even on the didn't make a single play.
Yeah.
Their defense, they haven't really invested. Their draft picks have not panned out. I think this is a game where I do think it will be close, just in the fact that you have Justin Jefferson, you have Jordan Addison, but I think that the Eagles can shut down the facets of the Vikings, and just Justin Jefferson will have those plays, but if he's the biggest threat, and you guys have that D line that can lock down that run play, I think you guys have this. Honestly, I don't see anything. I know you agree, but I just anything can happen. But I have very high faith in the Eagles pulling out a W here.
I think so too. I think if they don't come out swinging like the Eagles, if the Eagles don't come out swinging, it can get interesting. Minnesota's good enough where they could get a win, so it would make sense. You wouldn't necessarily question it like you would if I don't know the Eagles played Houston or whatever. But defense is going to be big for the Eagles in this game. Offense, they have to get back on track too. If they do, I think they'll be smooth sailing.
Yeah, fair. Which game do you want to move to next here? Actually, we have to do bold predictions.
We need to do bold predictions.
Bold predictions. Is there anything else you want to get into before bold predictions?
I don't think so. I think, of course, it'll be interesting what the Eagles do at linebacker. I think they'll sub in Christian Ellis, but you're going to have to bring up another linebacker because you only have 2 active ones. Mm-hmm. So interesting what they do there. I want to see more competent play from the corners, and they'll have to because Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, etc. So yeah.
I think bold prediction here. man, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say Jalen Carter gets another sack,
Mhm.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah,
Jalen Carter. I mean, he looked like you said about his pressures last week.
you
Um,
look good.
Garrett Bradbury, the Viking center,
Yes,
Dexter Lawrence feasted on last
yeah.
year, and Garrett Bradbury struggles with those physical freaks. I think that I will actually go this far. I think that there's going to be 3 sacks from the interior defensive line from the Eagles.
Okay.
That's my bold prediction.
Interesting. I wanted to think of something in terms of Jalen Carter as well. I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go Jalen Hurts over 250 yards throwing,
Mhm.
over 100 running, and at least 4 touchdowns combined, either 2 and 2,
Oh man, dude,
3 and
that's a
1.
that was as
I,
bold as it could get. 100
I'm,
yards rushing, 250, 4 Hey, listen, that's Jalen. That's Jalen Hurts
yeah,
from last season.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, too. Like the Vikings defense isn't the Patriots defense, so
That's what
I
I'm
wouldn't
hoping.
throw it out of the
I'm
picture.
hoping
Yeah.
that they were a little spooked yesterday and that
Mhm.
they get back on course. And even, it is bold, but it's also a prediction that I would like to happen. So you could be bold prediction / my wants. So
Okay,
250
fair.
passing yards, over 100 running, 4 touchdowns combined. Would have to compare last season to see how many times he did that, but yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah. Okay. Which game do you want to get into next? You want to get into the Cowboys or the Commanders? I feel like it's a toss. You pick. You pick.
I'll jump into. Let's do Dallas. I have Dallas up right now.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit. So the Jets have not played yet. They're
Yeah,
playing
yeah. This is tough because it
soon.
depends on what the Jets do
So
tonight.
we'll see how the Jets do. The Jets O line depth is like really where I'm concerned here. I believe it's what I think. Let me just pull this up, but I believe it's Dwayne Brown, the old like 38-year-old Dwayne Brown, and then Mekhi Becton, who's like been held up by tape. Like it's like Mekhi Becton. I loved him coming out. Looked good his rookie year, or his first year healthy, but he's just been injured nonstop. Let's see
Elijah
here.
Vera Tucker.
Oh, I do. I don't know if I ever told you this, dude, but I drank with Elijah Vera Tucker's dad after his first game.
Wow.
After Elijah Vera Tucker's first game, I was supposed to see the Giants play the Broncos in New York. I got trapped in North Carolina, lost my ID, couldn't make the flight, had to stay in a hotel in North Carolina, and it was the same hotel that Elijah Vera Tucker's dad was staying in because the Jets were playing the Panthers. And and I was hanging out with him at the bar, and he was a really cool dude.
How did you book a hotel room without ID?
Oh, I just a credit card. I just did it online.
Oh, really? They don't check ID?
I probably showed them a picture, dude. Like I was telling him, I'm like, dude, this is a really like I should be at the Giants game. Like I have a picture of my ID. I was trying to rent a car to drive up, and I was like, this is not to do it with a picture of my ID.
To rent a car? Yeah, they'll need a license.
Yeah, pretty miserable. But I was hoping. Anyways, yeah, Jets O line. I do love Elijah Vera Tucker. I mean, Elijah Vera Tucker is like, top notch guard. Great dad, like I said. But I'm curious to see if the Cowboys defensive front, because like that's really what you want to see here. Like, especially if you're looking long term towards this season. And that's also going to be one of their keys, like getting to Aaron Rodgers, because he has so many weapons and they have a great running game. Like, we haven't seen Breece Hall yet. Everything says that like he's there. They're just going to be conservative with him in the beginning.
Yes.
And Dalvin Cook is still Dalvin Cook. Like Dalvin Cook is a 1,000-yard rusher anytime that he carries the workload. Garrett Wilson, I think for one of my fantasy leagues, I need him to score 70 points tonight. So we will see if I think that Garrett Wilson might emerge as the number one wide receiver this year. He has it. Like he has the ability. He looked amazing as a rookie. Garrett Wilson?
In New York with the Jets?
with Aaron Rodgers.
Is he already wide receiver 1?
No, but emerge as like the wide receiver 1 in the league. I'm talking
Uh,
like premier, like compete with Justin Jefferson, Jamar
oh, he
Chase.
might. I could. Yeah, I agree
I
with
could
that.
see that. Yeah,
I think he's already there. Honestly, not like
he's
not.
definitely in that boat
He's
of
like
tier.
one. He's like 1D kind of thing.
Yeah,
Right.
but I think that he could have the biggest year, like
Yeah.
especially playing into that, like wearing the same number 17 as Devontae Adams. Like that's what I'm curious to see because the Giants didn't have a chance to test that secondary. Yeah, Stephon Gilmore looked good. Trayvon Diggs looked whatever, okay. I think he recovered one of the fumbles and gave it to his son, his cute son from Hard Knocks. I hate him so much. But I want to see what they do when they're not playing the Giants in the worst game of the entire everything. But also the Jets defense. They might be one of the best defenses in the NFL this year.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
So we'll see there. We'll see how Sauce lines up. Now, if CD is in the slot, do you think that Sauce is going to follow him to the slot? Or do you think that...
Oh, yeah. I don't think it matters. I don't think... in terms of that, they're going to put their best corner on CD. And that's Sauce Gardner. DJ Reed's good, too. He's pretty good quarterback, too. But you have to put Sauce on CD. That'll be a fun matchup to watch, I think.
Yeah, it's during the Giants game, but I'm gonna definitely have that on my David Buster's trio.
Very nice.
Won't be paying attention to it that much. But what do you think here? What do you see? Where do you see this game going? Because honestly, after that performance by the Cowboys, I don't want the Cowboys to win, but I almost want them to look that dominant again, so that the Giants don't look that bad. Do you understand that thing?
Yeah, I think I don't think the Cowboys are going to look that good against the Jets. But we'll see. I think Dallas ultimately, I'll give them the win going into the game as of now, even though I haven't seen the Jets play. But the Jets can kill clock. Rodgers uses up the entire play clock. Let's see how they manage the game. Rob Sala's, finally has some talent at the quarterback position where hopefully he can rely on. Rodgers is getting up there in age, so season long wise, we'll see with them. But they can put together a good game plan. It'll be interesting what they do though against Buffalo tonight, because assuming they lose, it's another one of those things where they don't want to go start off the season 0-2. So I think they'll put in a good effort against Dallas regardless. But I still think I have Dallas winning.
I think that the Jets... It's hard to say. It's hard to say because we still haven't seen the Jets yet. They're playing. By the time this is out, the Jets may have won or lost against the Bills.
Right.
But I do like this Jets team a lot. And like I said, I want the Cowboys to win. But I think that – and after last game, I want to say that the Cowboys – I want to say other than you, but honestly, dude, I'll tell you what, I didn't see that strong of an offensive showing, even though they scored 40 points.
Yeah.
That was from all of the first touchdown defense. I mean, just pulling up the Cowboys touchdowns in that game. Tony Pollard rushed for 2. And I love our defensive front. So, that's Tony Pollard there. Kevontae Turpin also rushed for 1, but there was no passing touchdowns. Right. And I think it's going to be similar against an even you're against 2 rookie corners, and one of them gets pulled out for Nick McLeod. Yeah. Obviously, Adori's covering CD in the slot. He kind of struggled. There's this one play. I think he did a good job of covering CD, but there was this one play where he got bumped by somebody in the slot, and CD had this wide free release and had a big chunk play. I think that's how the Jets win this game. I think the Jets win this game, and it's hard for me to say this because the Cowboys are looking at somebody in an Evan Ingram jersey after I just said that the Giants were going to have the game of their lives and this would be close and win. But I'm going to pick against the Cowboys again, as much as I'm scared. And you know what? I'll eat, I don't mind. I'm painting the picture the way I see it. I see it, and I think that the Jets, their matchups, I think, work out there.
I like that you're not falling for like we can't overreact to the way Dallas played last night because it was a
It was the
combination.
craziest game.
It was a crazy weather-wise and whatnot. And also the Giants played like so bad. Like it wasn't that the Dallas like played great. It was also that the Giants played the worst football you've probably ever seen. So like we don't have to fall in love with Dallas just because of what happened last night.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's gonna be tough to throw in the Jets, or it should be at least. And I think that Quinton Williams, a few guys on the Jets D line get to the quarterback. It could be tough for any offense.
Yeah. And I also, I don't even really bring this up, but Tyler Smith was out last week. We'll see where he is going forward. Other than that, I don't think there was any real major Cowboys injuries of note. Bold predictions for this game. I think, you know what, dude? I don't care that you guys just walloped us. I think that the Cowboys, I think Dak is under 200 passing yards again this week. I think that is bold. Like Dak, especially with those receivers, but like he didn't do it against the Giants. Not that he really needed to, but I think it's going to be even more difficult against what pains me to say, but it's just the truth. I mean, the Jets have a better defense than the Giants, and we'll see. We'll see. I am very curious to see how this. That is my Super Bowl prediction. Dak fails to get over 200 passing yards again.
My bold prediction is Sauce Gardner will have 2 interceptions, but the Jets will still lose.
Okay.
So.
Oh, okay. I kind of like that.
Yeah. So it's
especially with Dak, especially if they're down.
Yeah. So I know the turnover difference is huge in the outcome in a lot of games. The Jets Sauce will be able to pick off 2 passes of Dak, but Dallas will still pull out a win. I don't know how it's going to happen, but that's my prediction.
Just to be a little positive on the Cowboys side, I will say another bold prediction that I don't think is terribly bold is Micah Parsons having 2 sacks at least.
Mm-hmm.
Against like a Jets line that is, it's just up in the air. Like we don't really know what Mekhi Becton's going to be doing. We don't really know Dwayne Brown's going to be doing. We shall see. So I have the Jets winning it, and you have the Cowboys?
I do.
All right, and now we are moving on to the final game. The Washington Commanders traveled to Denver to play Sean Payton's Broncos, who just lost a close game, but not a very pretty game, to the Raiders.
Yeah, they looked, considering how awful Denver was last year, I think this is a breath of fresh air for them. Especially with Russ because he looked inept last year. And looks like he threw for
177.
A little over 75%, I think, on completion rating.
Yep.
Didn't run or do anything like that at this age. I don't see it. Did throw for 2 touchdowns. Kept them in the game. They ultimately blew it in the 4th. But I think they're better than Washington. I think it's tough to play in Denver, too, with the altitude stuff going on there. It's tough to breathe there for some of these players. They have the oxygen mask going.
That's where I'm going to be tomorrow, by the way. I'm going to be in Denver. Not for the game. I'm going to be back in Nashville to watch the game, but I will be in Denver tomorrow. So
there you go. So I think Sean Payton's made a difference so far. I think in terms of Denver being an actual serious team of some sort. I don't think they're great still, but I think that Denver looks better. I think they're going to beat Washington in Denver come Sunday.
So they're going to be. I don't know. I still don't love Russell Wilson. Like, I don't love. Like looking at this game, like the Raiders were kind of a joke too. Not as much. They have more. I mean,
I agree, but Denver. Every game Denver played last year, they looked like they could be in like the Canadian Football League, and this year, I mean, Wilson's been accurate enough. They don't have great playmakers, but Sutton was, I don't know. I guess Judy still suspended?
Not suspended. No, he is hurt. He actually might be playing this game because he was like questionable going in.
He would help.
So he would
Javante
help.
Williams for
Actually,
4 yards
coming
of
off the
carry.
ACL, but yeah, and he looks like one of the fastest players to come back from an ACL. I guess this is my biggest concern here is that I feel like the Raiders' defense isn't as good as the Commanders' defense.
Uh-huh.
So that's where I kind of want to see here. The Broncos O line still is not solidified. Like that has been kind of an issue with them. I have my questions about the Broncos receiving core too. I mean, Cortland Sutton, yeah, he had a touchdown. Little Jordan Humphrey, who I didn't know, I didn't know who Little Jordan Humphrey was. He also had a touchdown. I was expecting Marvin Mims to kind of pop off, and also Adam Troutman coming to Denver from New Orleans, where he was with Sean Payton.
He was active, kind of.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, he had the most receptions for him, but he's also not somebody I really fear. Honestly, I thought Logan Wilson actually looked really good for the Commanders. And he was kind of healthy. Like he made some plays. If I'm going player for player who I want to pick here, like Washington has the better receiving core.
Okay.
It's actually kind of fun. I feel like the like running back by committee is kind of like Samaje Perine is kind of supposed to be like an Antonio Gibson, like a receiving back, you know? I kind of like what Brian Robinson brings more too, to be honest, than Javante Williams, who, yeah, he played better than expected coming back from his ACL, but like I just don't have full faith. And I think that the Commanders' defense is better. I don't want them to win. Trust me, I do not. But I have faith that the Commanders will keep this close. I don't think this is going to be a runaway game. Just like all the games that Denver was in last year, they were all close games, even though they were awful. Their defense kept it close. So I'm curious to see how Washington plays against a much better, like especially with Sam Howell. Like I think there's a lot more Broncos players who can get to the quarterback, and Sam Howell is just a sack master of just taking sacks. The Broncos didn't actually have any sacks yesterday, against the Raiders, who I also feel like have a questionable line. For pass rushers, I mean, they have Randy Gregory, old Cowboys, great Frank Clark, which is new. Zach Allen, the guy one of the players from the Cardinals last year, He was like kind of promising. So we'll see how I also want to see that because if I would say that the Broncos probably have a better D line than the Cardinals D line. I kind of want to see if this translates again because it seems like this Commanders O-line is kind of questionable at best.
Right, and they have the secondary with Pat Surtain for Denver, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So, yeah, I just think we saw enough good stuff out of Denver yesterday where him and Sean Payton, Russell Wilson, and Sean Payton, they'll get a win eventually. And I think, play a team like Washington, great opportunity. They almost beat Las Vegas yesterday. I think Washington will be their first win.
All right. And you know what? I didn't say this, but I feel like the pressure is on. Yeah. Sean Payton being one of the too many hyped up coaches to come to Colorado, and Deion Sanders is delivering, and Sean Payton, I think a lot of Broncos fans would have said that the Raiders, had that. And you want to know what's kind of funny is that the Raiders are first in the AFC West.
Wow.
Pretty crazy.
Chargers
that's just week one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Chargers looked really good.
Yeah.
Too. That was probably the best game of the week.
Yes.
But luckily, we don't have to. What? Do the Cowboys play the Chargers? Somebody plays the Chargers.
I think eventually, yeah. I believe
it's the Cowboys. Yeah. Yeah, so that's something to look for. Yeah, it is Dallas. But, yeah, because we play the Raiders. So, yeah, I think I'm going to give this one to Washington.
Okay.
I want to see Sam Howell. Like I said, I don't want it. I want to see how Sam Howell does moving forward. I want to see if he can get to more of his receivers, especially in the end zone, because that was kind of lacking in that first game.
Yeah.
So, and I also just finished drives. Like the Commanders just weren't finishing drives, and especially against a really tough Denver team that I feel like has that defense that will hold you and force mistakes. I want to see them finish some drives and see what they can do there.
Didn't see enough that I liked out of Washington against a really bad Arizona team. Wasn't that confident in Washington even going into the season. I think it's Denver's game to lose ultimately.
Yeah, that's fair. Very fair. Very fair. Bold predictions here. Bold predictions. All right, you want to start it off?
Sure. Denver will lead for most of the game, and they'll either be down at the end or they'll be tied, and they'll put a game-winning drive together and kick a game-winning field goal in Denver to give them their first win of the season.
All right, sounds like you were looking into a crystal ball right there. You seem pretty exact with those predictions. I think that is a tough one. But I can totally see it. I mean, that seems like right there for the script. I feel like you might have gotten an early copy of the script.
I do have a copy back here.
Oh, so you didn't even want to warn me about that?
No.
That 40-0. Okay. I got to move on from that.
You're not gonna be happy about the Arizona game on Sunday. Nah, just kidding.
Oh God! Please, my heart just dropped. Like, please, man, I'm in enough pain. My optimism is the only thing that's keeping me alive right now. Let's see. I think this is a get right game. I'm pretty sure I might have predicted this last week about Jahan Dotson having 100 yards, but I think this is. I'll tell you what. I think this is a game where Sam Howell surpasses 300 passing yards.
Wow.
Which is like, I mean, is that crazy? No.
For Sam Howell, it might be.
He had 200 last week, but I think that he surpasses 200 and instead of just passing like a little dinker to Brian Robinson as a touchdown pass, I think that he's going to have 3 touchdown passes. Oh, no, I don't want to say that because this is a tough defense, man. But I think this is bold. Like, I think that he could man, why did I say this? I just walked myself into a corner. But, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to stick with just a 300 against a very tough Denver defense. I think that they're going to try to find a way to get the ball off quick, maybe get some quick little ins to Jahan Dotson, slants. Curtis Samuel, I feel like they're going to be try to get those screen games in with Curtis Samuel, get yards that way, and then when you can, get a bomb off to Terry McLaurin, and yeah. That's how that's going to happen. And honestly, I don't really believe in that bold prediction, but I'm going to put it out there. When it's right, I will tell everybody that I knew it. And when it's wrong, I'm going to hope that everybody forgets that I said it.
I think you'll be okay. Either way.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's it, man.
That's it.
Yeah. Anything else you want to get in there?
I don't think so. Just enjoy Monday Night Football. Could be an interesting game against with Buffalo against the Jets.
Yeah. Since this is going to come out after the game is over, I want to make a little prediction. Not that it even matters, but I'm going to go Jets. This is a game I'm actually really excited to watch.
Interesting. I think we're going to go Buffalo.
Okay. You'll put $5 on it? Maybe I'll finally win something this week. It's been a bad week for me, man. It's been a bad week.
I'm afraid I'm going to win, and then it's just going to be all downhill.
Hey, that's all right. You know what, dude? It's more of a friendly thing here.
But
yeah, Giants fans, hang in there. Can't get worse. They literally cannot get worse than what just happened this week.
It's a good way to view it.
Yeah. So, hey, let's get excited. We still got a whole season of football left, and we're just getting started, boys.
Shout out to all the teams that are 1-0 after week 1. Just wanted to say that. And shout out for all the teams that have scored a point, too.
I didn't even want to get into those stats, and I'm not going to touch them. You know what, dude? Because guess what? We're going to forget them. They're not going to be relevant for a very long time. Ever again. The Giants will never lose like that ever again. All right.
You heard
Go Giants. Jeremy Goode. It was nice talking to you. It's always a pleasure.
Sean. Always a pleasure. Always
All
a
right.
pleasure.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week to recap what's hopefully a better week. So, all right. See you later, guys.
Peace.
Peace.